in the Annika Pro-Am. As it says here, it will take the Gamebridge ambassador Caitlin Clark returns to play this Wednesday. No, not this Wednesday. In the Wednesday, November 12th Pro-Am at Pelican Golf Club as part of the Annika driven by Gamebridge at Pelican.
Well, NBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert just delivered a message that sent shockwaves through the basketball world. She looked Caitlin Clark dead in the eye and said, "We don't allow this." The rookie sensation who broke every record imaginable suddenly found herself on the wrong side of the league's most powerful woman. This wasn't some gentle guidance or friendly advice. This was a full-blown warning that could change everything for the most popular player in women's basketball. But here's where things get really interesting.
Here it says Clark will play Wednesday, November 12th at Pelican Club. Pro-Am tickets are $25 and event organizers. Now peep this. Business is booming when Caitlin is involved. Pro-Am tickets are $25 and event organizers saw demand increase 1,200% for the Pro-Am because of Clark, one of the most popular figures in the sports world. 1,200%.
Clark didn't just nod and walk away. The same competitive fire that made her a household name at Iowa was about to put her on a collision course with the WNBA establishment. Engelbert thought she was dealing with just another rookie who would fall in line. She was dead wrong. The tension started building during Clark's first month in the league. Every game brought new drama. Every interview sparked more controversy. The Indiana Fever's star player was making waves that reached all the way to the commissioner's office.
And I believe they might even have they've got a statement from somebody. Caitlin Clark enjoyed her time at the Annika so much last year that she's running it back. The WNBA star will return to the LPGA Tour event at Pelican Golf Club in Bel Air, Florida, where she's scheduled to participate in the Pro-Am on November 12th.
Engelbert had seen rising stars before, but nothing prepared her for the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. Let's take a moment to rewind to understand how we got here. Clark entered the WNBA as the most hyped rookie in league history. Ticket sales exploded wherever she played. Television ratings hit numbers the league hadn't seen in years. Merchandise flew off the shelves faster than anyone could restock it. She was everything the WNBA desperately needed to grow its fan base and increase revenue. Not only that, but Clark brought something else the league wasn't ready for: attitude, confidence, a refusal to be intimidated by veteran players who thought rookies should stay quiet and learn their place.
Sometimes a dozen followers. Clark had thousands. She played the front nine with the world #1 Nelly Korda and back nine with golf icon Annika Sorenstam, the event's host. It was an honor to play the Pro-Am with Caitlin last year. The crowds were amazing, and we are excited for her to return to the Annika in November. Annika said she added such a great dynamic to our event, and her passion for golf and competitiveness were fun to witness firsthand.
She talked trash on the court. She celebrated big shots with theatrical flair. She played with an edge that made some people uncomfortable. The breaking point came during a heated exchange with officials. Clark questioned a call that went against her team. She threw her hands up in frustration. She shook her head in disbelief. To most fans, it looked totally normal. Basketball players argue with refs all the time. But here's the twist. The WNBA operates differently than other professional leagues. Engelbert watched the footage multiple times.
Colton Herta and Marcus Erickson served as the caddies. Come on, man.
All right, everybody, welcome back.
I think the cool thing about that is just you felt the energy in the room, the amount of women sitting in there and so passionate about being a leader in their space, whether it was sport, whether it's business, whatever it is. I think that was what's so cool about it, and obviously getting to sit next to Annika on stage is pretty special for myself. So I think a lot of things that me and Annika said is we share a lot of the same values, and I think that's really cool, being driven, but so do they at the same time. Like, obviously we're, professional athletes who played sport or whatever it was, but at the same time in their lives, it all relates. And I think people at times forget that we're real humans too, and we're driven by the same things that they are, maybe just achieving things a little bit differently, and whatever it is, but you could just feel the energy and excitement in the room, and I thought that was what's so cool about it.
She consulted with other league executives. Phone calls were made. Meetings were scheduled. The commissioner decided that Clark's behavior crossed a line that couldn't be ignored. The warning was swift and direct. No room for interpretation. No wiggle room for excuses. What happened next would determine whether Clark would bend to the league's will or stand her ground. The most popular player in women's basketball was about to learn that talent doesn't always protect you from politics. Engelbert held all the cards, but Clark had something more powerful, an army of fans who would follow her anywhere.
Every league understands the value of Caitlin Clark. Every single league, and we're going to get into this article. Every single league, from Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, everybody seems to understand the value that Caitlin Clark brings to the table, except guess who? Except who? The league she plays in, the WNBA. Cathy, in my opinion, this is the reason you gotta go. This is the reason you have to go. All these WNBA players that was disrespecting fans, disrespecting Caitlin Clark fans, and all of this nonsense. Y'all don't understand the value she brings. But all of the leagues who are prospering and winning, they understand the value. And it's pretty sad.
The incident that triggered Commissioner Engelbert's warning happened during a crucial game against the Las Vegas Aces. Clark was having one of those nights where everything seemed to go wrong. Questionable calls kept going against Indiana. Her teammates were struggling to get open looks. The crowd was getting restless as the Fever fell further behind. Then came the moment that changed everything. Clark drove hard to the basket and got absolutely hammered by two defenders. No whistle, no call, nothing.
It looks like she's going to participate in the same event that she was in last year, which garnered a hell of a lot of attention. A ton of attention. Caitlin Clark to run it back at the LPGA event. WNBA star will compete in the Annika Pro-Am, Annika Sorenstam.
She hit the floor hard and stayed down for a few seconds, clearly frustrated. When she finally got up, she walked directly toward the referee and let him have it. The cameras caught every word, even though the audio was muted. Clark's body language told the whole story. She pointed at the spot where she got fouled. She gestured wildly with her hands. Her face showed pure disbelief at what she considered a terrible non-call. The ref tried to wave her off, but Clark wasn't finished. But wait, it gets worse. As Clark continued her animated discussion with the official, something unprecedented happened. The entire arena started chanting her name.
She's had an endorsement deal with Gamebridge, the title sponsor of this LPGA event, since her senior season at the University of Iowa. See, Cathy, you talking about without the WNBA, the girl wouldn't have been making $16 million. She been getting money with these people while she was at Iowa. She been getting to the bag before the WNBA. Sorry. That would never work here. The WNBA needs to be grateful of Caitlin Clark, not the other way around. Okay. I had an amazing time at Annika last November and participating in the Pro-Am alongside Nelly Korda and Annika Sorenstam.
Thousands of fans were on their feet supporting their rookie star against what they saw as biased officiating. The noise level reached playoff intensity during a regular season game. That's when Clark made the mistake that would haunt her for weeks. She turned toward the crowd and raised both arms, encouraging them to get even louder. The fans responded immediately. The chanting got more intense. Some people started throwing objects onto the court. Security had to step in to restore order. Here's where the story takes a dark turn. League officials watching from the executive offices were not amused. They saw Clark's gesture as deliberately inciting the crowd. In their view, she had crossed from normal player frustration into dangerous territory. Professional athletes aren't supposed to encourage fan unrest, especially when emotions are already running high. The game continued, but the damage was done. Clark finished with decent numbers, but her team lost by double digits. More importantly, she had created a situation that forced the commissioner's hand. Engelbert couldn't ignore what happened without appearing weak to other players, coaches, and team owners. Not only that, but video of the incident went viral within hours. Social media exploded with debates about referee bias against Clark. Some fans accused the league of deliberately trying to limit her impact. Others defended the officials and criticized Clark for poor sportsmanship. The WNBA found itself dealing with a public relations nightmare. What made matters even more complicated was Clark's Clark's post-game interview. Instead of backing down or apologizing, she doubled down on her criticism. She said the officiating was inconsistent. She pointed out specific plays where she felt wronged. She questioned whether referees were treating her differently because of her popularity and media attention. The next morning, Engelbert's phone was ringing off the hook. Team owners wanted answers. Television executives expressed concerns about future broadcasts. League sponsors worried about the WNBA's image. Something had to be done quickly before the situation spiraled completely out of control. Caitlin Clark's response to Commissioner Engelbert's warning was nothing short of explosive. Instead of issuing a standard apology or promising to do better, Clark fired back with the kind of defiance that made her a college basketball legend. She called a press conference the very next day and came out swinging. Here's where things got absolutely wild. Clark walked into that media room with zero intention of backing down. She sat at the podium, looked directly into the cameras, and delivered a statement that left everyone's jaws on the floor. She said the league needed to focus on improving officiating instead of silencing players who speak up about obvious problems. The reporters in the room couldn't believe what they were hearing. Rookies simply don't challenge commissioners publicly, especially not rookies who are still trying to establish themselves in the league. Clark didn't care about any of that. She had built her entire career on refusing to be intimidated by anyone, and she wasn't about to start now. But that wasn't even the most shocking part. Clark went on to question whether the WNBA truly wanted her to succeed. She pointed out that her popularity had brought unprecedented attention to women's basketball. Ticket sales were through the roof wherever she played. Television ratings had doubled in markets where the Fever appeared. Merchandise featuring her name and number was outselling everything else combined. Then came the bombshell statement that sent shockwaves through the entire organization. Clark suggested that some people within the league resented her success and were actively working to undermine her impact. She didn't name names, but everyone knew exactly what she was implying. The golden child of women's basketball was accusing league officials of sabotage. Social media erupted immediately after her comments went live. Fans rallied behind Clark with hashtags supporting her right to speak out. Former players chimed in with their own stories about unfair treatment. Current players found themselves forced to choose sides in a battle that was getting more heated by the hour. Not only that, but Clark's teammates started speaking up too. They confirmed that officiating had been inconsistent throughout the season. They backed up her claims about questionable calls and missed fouls. The entire Indiana Fever organization was now aligned against the league office in a very public dispute. What happened next was absolutely unprecedented. Commissioner Engelbert called an emergency meeting with all team owners. She needed their support to handle what was quickly becoming the biggest crisis in WNBA history. Some owners sided with the commissioner and demanded that Clark be disciplined more severely. Others worried about losing their biggest draw and the revenue she generated. The league found itself in an impossible position. Punishing Clark too harshly would create a massive backlash from fans and media. Doing nothing would send a message that players could openly defy league authority without consequences. Every decision carried enormous risks that could damage the WNBA's carefully built reputation. Meanwhile, Clark kept playing basketball at an absolutely elite level. Her performance on the court remained spectacular even as the off-court drama intensified. She was averaging numbers that put her in Rookie of the Year conversations while simultaneously waging war against the very league she played in. Behind closed doors, the WNBA was experiencing a full-scale meltdown that threatened to tear the league apart from the inside. Commissioner Engelbert found herself fighting battles on multiple fronts as team owners, players, and league executives took sides in what was becoming an all-out war over Caitlin Clark's future. Let's dive deeper into the chaos that was unfolding in those executive boardrooms. Three powerful team owners had already contacted Engelbert demanding that Clark face serious suspension. They argued that allowing a rookie to publicly challenge league authority would set a dangerous precedent. Other players might start speaking out against decisions they didn't like. The entire power structure could collapse. On the flip side, 5 other owners were panicking about the financial implications of punishing their biggest star. Clark's games were selling out arenas that had struggled to fill half their seats just months earlier. Television contracts were being renegotiated at much higher rates specifically because of her drawing power. Merchandise sales had increased by over 300% since she entered entered the league. The Indiana Fever ownership group was caught in the middle of this corporate battlefield. They desperately wanted to support their franchise player, but they also couldn't afford to anger the league office. Behind the scenes, they were quietly lobbying other owners to find a compromise solution that wouldn't destroy Clark's career or their own financial prospects. But here's where the politics got really nasty. Several veteran players started working against Clark through unofficial channels. They felt she was getting too much attention and making demands that other rookies would never dare make. Phone calls were made to influential coaches and front office executives. The message was clear: Clark needed to be put in her place before she destroyed the league's carefully maintained culture. What made the situation even more explosive was the involvement of the players' union. Union representatives were getting pressure from both sides. Some members wanted Clark protected because her success benefited everyone through increased revenue sharing. Others felt she was being disrespectful to the collective bargaining process and the established hierarchy that had taken years to build. Commissioner Engelbert was losing sleep trying to navigate this minefield. Every phone call brought new demands or threats. Television executives were asking pointed questions about league stability. Sponsors were getting nervous about being associated with ongoing controversy. The carefully crafted image of a professional, well-managed organization was crumbling in real time. Then came the leaked audio that changed everything. Someone had recorded a private conversation between Engelbert and two team owners where they discussed specific strategies for limiting Clark's influence. The recording revealed plans to assign certain referees to her games and implement new rules about player conduct during interviews. Not only that, but the leak exposed deeper resentments within league leadership. Engelbert was caught on tape saying that Clark's popularity was a double-edged sword that could damage the WNBA's long-term credibility. She worried that focusing too much attention on one player would hurt the development of other stars and create an unhealthy dynamic. The audio went viral within hours of being released. Clark's supporters used it as proof that she was being deliberately targeted by league officials. Her critics pointed to it as evidence that she was causing unnecessary drama and division. The fallout from the leaked audio recording created a seismic shift that nobody in the WNBA could have predicted. Caitlin Clark suddenly found herself with ammunition that transformed her from a complaining rookie into a legitimate whistleblower, exposing systemic problems within the league's power structure. Here's where everything completely unraveled. Within 48 hours of the audio leak, 3 major sponsors announced they were reviewing their partnerships with the WNBA. They cited concerns about internal conflicts and leadership stability. Television executives started making phone calls asking tough questions about the league's ability to manage its most valuable asset. Stock prices for companies invested in women's basketball took noticeable hits. Clark wasted no time capitalizing on this momentum. She hired a high-powered sports attorney who specialized in player league disputes. Her legal team immediately started gathering evidence of discriminatory treatment and potential contract violations. They subpoenaed internal league communications and demanded access to referee assignment records. The rookie, who was supposed to stay quiet and learn her place, was now launching a full-scale legal investigation. But the most devastating blow came when other players started coming forward with their own stories. Current and former WNBA athletes began sharing experiences of unfair treatment, biased officiating, and league retaliation for speaking out. What started as an isolated incident involving one player had exposed widespread problems that had been festering for years. Commissioner Engelbert's position became increasingly unstable as more details emerged. Board members who had initially supported her tough stance against Clark were now questioning whether she had created an unnecessary crisis. Emergency meetings were called to discuss potential leadership changes. The woman who thought she was protecting the league's integrity was now fighting for her own professional survival. Meanwhile, Clark kept dominating on the basketball court while simultaneously dismantling the league's credibility off it. Her performance remained absolutely spectacular even as she dealt with legal proceedings and media scrutiny. She was proving that talent and principle could coexist in ways that made her critics look petty and vindictive. What nobody anticipated was how quickly public opinion would shift in Clark's favor. Fans who had initially supported the league's authority started viewing her as a courageous advocate for player rights. Media coverage became increasingly sympathetic to her position. Social media campaigns supporting her cause gained millions of followers and generated massive engagement across all platforms. The WNBA found itself in the worst possible position, fighting a public relations battle against its own biggest star while trying to maintain credibility with sponsors, television partners, and fans. Every statement from league officials seemed to make the situation worse. Every attempt at damage control backfired spectacularly. As this story continues to unfold, one thing has become crystal clear. Caitlin Clark refused to be silenced silenced by threats or intimidated by powerful people who underestimated her resolve. The rookie, who was supposed to quietly accept whatever treatment the league decided to give her, had instead exposed fundamental problems that could reshape women's professional basketball forever. The warning that started this whole mess was supposed to put Clark in her place. Instead, it revealed that she was exactly where she belonged, at the center of a movement demanding accountability, fairness, and respect for the athletes who make the WNBA possible. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the explosive drama surrounding Caitlin Clark and want to stay updated on all the latest developments in women's basketball, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our breaking coverage.